That was Ziggy Stardust by the incomparable David Bowie, an absolute classic. And we are in for a treat. We are joined today by Magenta Marshall, the Labour MP, is correct? Yeah?
Yes.
Yeah, awesome. Cool. So thank you so much for coming down here.
Thanks for having me, Rob.
It's an absolute pleasure. I like having people on the show. It makes things run a little bit smoother and faster for me. It can be a bit lonely in here.
Yeah, I bet. I'm happy to help.
Good stuff. So do you want to tell us a little bit about your reasons for getting into politics and your passions?
Yep. So I was recently elected nearly 4 months ago for the seat of Rockingham. I haven't always been interested in politics, but I have always had a passion for social justice and standing up for my values of fairness and equality, which were really instilled in me by my parents. So I grew up down here in Rockingham in Coolungup and was born into a single-parent family with just my mum and I. We actually, she actually worked here in this building at Centrelink Rockingham while I was growing up, and it was here that she met the man I now call Dad, Barry, who adopted me last year. Oh. Yeah, and so I feel like I've had a bit of a unique upbringing. When my younger sisters were born, my dad was a stay-at-home parent. It just made economic sense for them at the time, and I think looking back, it was probably the start of my progressive values. I didn't see a lot of other dads doing the school drop-off or pick-up at that time, and I don't know if that's changed or not, but definitely was the experience then, an unusual experience. And my parents, neither of them finished high school, so for them, quality education was really important, and they wanted us to have better opportunities in life than they did. And so we had lots of, dinner table discussions around issues in the playground or in life or the world, and I remember my parents always had a pretty progressive view on things, and I think that probably rubbed off on me. Yeah,
okay, cool, very nice.
Yeah.
I try not to get too political on my show because I know I'm very progressive. And not everyone is.
Yes, yeah. You got to strike the right balance sometimes. When Mark McGowan retired, I thought I've been involved in the Labor Party for 10 years, or nearly 10 years, and have lived in Rockingham my whole life, and I love this area and want to make sure we continue to have good representation, so I thought I'd put my hand up.
Cool. So you got voted in only 4 months ago, and you'd already been involved for 10 years at that point?
Yes. Well, nearly. It'll be 10 years next year.
All right, cool.
Yep. Yeah, I joined in university, so back in 2014 when I went to uni to study Asian studies and Indonesian language, and it was while at uni, I guess I became a bit more politically minded. I don't want to get too political, but we had Tony Abbott as Prime Minister, and I didn't feel well represented with him, and so I ended up joining the Labor Party, and since then I've spent my whole working career after uni involved in the Labor movement. Cool.
Was it difficult to get into the Labor Party, or do you...
No, I think I'm a bit of a weirdo in that I did just go online and just went wlabor.org or Google WA Labor and clicked join and paid my $20 membership fee and away I went.
Cool. So how long were you with them paying a membership fee and kind of volunteering your time before you started to become a professional in the field?
Well, I joined in 2014 while at uni, and I didn't finish my uni degree until 2016, and my first job after university was working for the Transport Workers Union, so I guess about 2 years volunteering, and going to local branch meetings where you discuss policy and joining Young Labor and hanging out with like-minded people and working on campaigns like the 2016 federal election and then the 2017 state election, which is when I got my first job working for a Member of Parliament.
Cool. Yeah. Would you know if that's about typical for people who wanted to get into politics?
I think so. My most recent job before being elected for Rockingham was working at WA Labor's head office, where I had a bit of a priority or focus on women's engagement in the party, because I think politics can be seen as very male-dominated, and that was definitely true when I was growing up. I didn't see politics really as a pathway, so a lot of my work in the last 2 years was trying to find those interested, like-minded women and encourage them to join, or if people were in the party, encourage them to stay engaged and offer them opportunities that they might not have felt were available to them. So I think that's probably a typical way most people get involved, or maybe they've got a friend in the party who invites them in. But like I said, I think I was a bit weird and just joining on my own.
Yeah, fair enough.
Taking that step myself.
Do you think it's still very much a man's game, or is it kind of changing?
I think it's definitely changing. I was elected, 4 months ago, and I'm the 30th woman elected to this parliament of 59 members, which means we've got more than 50% women for the first time in any Australian parliament history. Yeah, it's really cool. And obviously can't take the credit. It's all the women who came before me. But I think it's definitely changing. I've noticed in parliament that it feels like a pretty safe and welcoming environment, and I think that must have something to do with the amount of women there. And I think politics in general is starting to, definitely within the Labor Party, we've got quotas on women representation, so there must be 50% women in senior positions or office holder positions, and I think that's definitely starting to flow through to new people joining.
Cool. Good stuff.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Did you want to talk a little bit about some plans for the future of Rockingham? What you see going on moving forward?
Yeah. Well, for me, I just want to make sure at the end of the day that future generations that grow up here, like I did, have even better access to local opportunities for work and study, sports and retirement, really. So, supporting local investment and sustainable development that will allow for that. But also, I guess, providing support to the people of Rockingham to improve, the quality of lives for everyone here. So, whether that's cost of living relief, which is really important right now, addressing the housing shortage, improving public transport, investing in our schools and hospitals, or protecting our local environment. For me, I guess those are the kind of key pillars. And then there are local projects like Cape Perrin and the high school redevelopments, being AUKUS ready, and the Mike Barnett redevelopment that are kind of on my to-do list right now.
Cool. Tell us a little bit more about the Cape Perrin project.
So a couple months ago now, I think it was probably in September, we announced the Cape Perrin would become a Class A reserve. So that brings it in line, or gives it the same environmental protection and tourism status as Rottnest Island or Kings Park. So really recognising that it's an area of high conservation value, but also, peak tourism. So for the next steps, the Department of Biodiversity, Conservation and Activities, DBCA, is working on a master plan for the region, which hopefully we'll be able to put out soon for public feedback. But I'm really keen to see toilets there, which I know a lot of the community are. Improved path network, so, it's more accessible for people to enjoy. A visitor centre, potentially short-term accommodation like camping or glamping like we used to have in the old RSL caravan park. So just really making it an iconic destination and recognising that significant value it has.
Yeah, cool, brilliant. Yeah. I remember hearing something about the new classification, giving it protection status.
Yep.
I always kind of read those news stories out because I think more environmental protections is always a good news story.
Definitely in Rockingham. I know we all definitely love and want to protect our environment down here. It's pretty special, and deserves
we have such
protection.
a unique environment
in
WA, and it's got such a big draw for tourism.
It is, so sustainable tourism, I think, for Cape Perrin will be really exciting.
That's awesome stuff. You mentioned a little bit about the housing crisis, and I was just wondering if you had any ideas. I know it's a hot button issue that people have been talking about a lot.
Oh, it's really tough. It's one that I don't envy the housing minister for being in charge of, but I know he's really passionate about it, and I think he's really one of the best people to lead the portfolio in this kind of challenging environment. Obviously, homelessness is a big issue, and it's something that I raise with the minister regularly, and I'm really proud that the government last week, or probably a couple of weeks ago now, announced that rent relief program that provides up to $5,000 in support for directly to tenants who are facing rental eviction. And they've also announced the package around short-term accommodation, so Airbnbs really, to incentivise some owners to provide transform their property into a rental. So there'd be a bit of a cash incentive for them to do that. And if even if only 50 Airbnbs turn into homes, but that's 50 more homes for families to live in, I think that would be a good outcome. Yeah.
I sometimes wonder why we don't have more big apartment blocks like we're seeing in Coburn, if that's a structural issue or if it's a zoning issue.
It would probably it'd be zoning, which does come under local government, but I know the City of Rockingham are aware of the housing issues and are really eager to support development. I know that Foreshore Group, or that site where the old Rocky Hotel is, there's recently been some public consultation about the demolition of that building, and I think there's plans to potentially provide a few different apartment blocks there, which, as you say, I think will help alleviate some of that stress.
Yeah, some high-density housing would be really cool.
Yeah, it's definitely needed.
Do you want to tell us a little bit about what's happening with the high schools and if there's any assistance that's needed there?
Yeah, so we, it was actually under the former member, Mark McGowan. He committed in the last budget $100 million to redevelop the 2 high schools. So it's $40 million for Safety Bay Senior High School and $60 million for Rockingham Senior High and their Ed Support Centre, which is essentially 2 schools. The business case for those 2 schools is being worked on with the department now, and then it'll go out, for community feedback. But there's a long list of things, and I don't have it on me, I'm sorry, but, providing like a performing arts centre at the high school, at the Rocky High School, is really important to me, something that could be, accessed by community, but also upgrading to classrooms and sports halls, even the admin blocks, because they're both nearly 50 years old and they need a bit of love so that the students are in the best possible environment, but also the teachers have the best environment to deliver that quality education.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, I love theatre as well. So
there we go.
Yeah, the arts department's fantastic news.
Yeah, I think, it was already part of the plan was to look at redoing their kind of dance hall or their theatre hall. But if we can make that something that's publicly accessible, I think that would be great for the community down here. Even now we have to sometimes travel to Mandurah to use their performing arts theatre, and I think we shouldn't have to leave our area here to access that.
Yeah, fair enough. Very cool. I've just I had a bit of brain fart moment.
That's okay.
We were talking about a little bit of the influences that brought you into politics.
Yep.
If anyone listening in is excited about the kind of stuff that you seem to be working on, wanted to come down and volunteer their time, how would they get in touch with you guys?
Yeah, I would love that and definitely encourage it. If people wanted to, go on my website, it would just be magentamarshall.com.au. I think we've got a volunteer tab, and I think that's a great way to get involved politically. As I said, I went straight out and joined the party and then volunteered, but I think it's more common for people to volunteer for a politician or, a member of parliament that they like and then end up joining the party to support them. So, and there are many different ways to volunteer. People can help at market stalls, come door knocking, which isn't as daunting as it sounds, make phone calls, help stuff envelopes. There's lots of little bits that help. So it would be very appreciated.
Cool. Yeah, go down to magentamarshall.com.au and check it out.
Please.
Awesome stuff. Is there any other events that you'd like to mention before I just put on some tunes and we'll take a bit of a break?
Not particularly. Coming up, it's the lead into Christmas, so there's lots of markets going on, and I'm hoping to have a stall at some upcoming markets to promote a free Christmas raffle, because I know it can be a tough time of year for families. So that'll also be on my website and on Facebook if people wanted to have a look and enter that.
Cool.
And we'll start up in the new year running the mobile offices again and getting back into door knocking when it's not 40 degrees.
Yeah.
We were meant to go out last week, but it was just too hot,
the
unfortunately.
record-breaking weather.
Yeah. So, for me, I'm really keen to just be accessible to the community, because I think not many not many people in the community think to contact their local member of parliament about an issue, and it's not until we go door knocking or meet them at cafes or at local market stalls that people think, actually, this intersection's a bit crappy at this certain time of day, and then we can follow it up for them. So for me, it's about being inclusive and being out there and accessible. Being accessible. So hopefully I can, continue that in the new year.
Oh, awesome stuff. And that's also Magenta Marshall on Facebook?
Yes.
Fantastic. All right, we're going to put on some Celine Dion and Clive Griffin, When I Fall in Love.